Hey guys, it's Chris. Welcome back to my channel. I'm coming to you today like a total mess. I just woke up a little while ago. I have a sick child, but this is a video that I really wanted to get up. I wanted to bring awareness to this subject. I'm going to get started just with a little background. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Matthew Santoro. He does educational sort of facts videos. You can check him out on YouTube, Matthew Santoro. I watch him all the time. He also does daily vlogs. And he put up a video yesterday for a very short amount of time. Then he took it down. And it was about being in an abusive relationship. This video actually had me in tears. For those of you who don't know kind of the backstory, you may know it a little more. I'm not going to really release any names, but I'm going to give some, hints here. He was in a relationship with another very big YouTuber, a very controversial YouTuber, and she did a video called Dear Fat People. So if you guys don't know who it is, then maybe you shouldn't know. So he just basically explained how he had been in a 1-year very abusive relationship, and it was a very it just tugged at my heartstrings. It was horrible video. And I think too many people are not aware when women are physically, and I've done an abuse video too in my Let's Talk series, but when, women are physically and emotionally abused, everyone sort of is like, oh my God, oh, I feel so bad for you, oh, that kind of thing. And there's really a stigma still to this day. And just by watching Matt's video, it was quite clear. And then he took the video down. I don't know if it was due to embarrassment or what the deal was, but I really felt that it was a video that really needed to be watched. So at the end of this video, you will see the video. I just think it's so important to watch, just so you can kind of get a sense of this. But it just goes to prove what a big stigma there is when men are abused in a relationship, and it happens so much more than people realize. Just as an example, I happen to have an example in my life that I found out years and years ago. My grandfather has since passed, and he lived to the ripe old age of like 91. My numbers may be a little off. A great, amazing man, and he was married, and his second marriage, and that marriage was very abusive. Very physically and emotionally abusive. His ex-wife used to I say ex-wife because he got divorced at the age of 82. Can you believe that? Yes. And at 82, he started living his life. She did not let him see his family. There were always reasons. We really didn't see him at all. Birthday parties, Christmas, all that kind of stuff. We didn't get to see him. And, it was really sad. I didn't know at the time what the reasons were, but afterwards I found out he had actually had a stroke, and he was laying on the floor, and he actually had to crawl. She did not come down from upstairs, and he actually had to crawl from the, where he had fallen to the phone to call 911. She never once, even when the EMTs were there, never once came down from downstairs, and it was pretty crazy. But anyway, so he did recover from that stroke, and when they were giving him his discharge papers, as far as, okay, you can go home now, he said, I'm never going back to that house again. And he actually divorced her at the age of 82. And afterwards, I did find out that she was very abusive. She used to hit him and all this kind of stuff. She did the stuff that, if you think of a woman in an abusive relationship, very jealous, just jealous of everybody. Not just women, of course, like that, but that's what people think of, but just jealous of other family members. He was not allowed to see his other family members. He had 5 daughters, wasn't allowed to come to our birthday parties, wasn't allowed to come to Christmas parties. There was always some sort of reason or excuse as to why, and we never really knew what the actual reason was. So people like this are really master manipulators. They really know how to put you in a situation where, little by little, like, at first you don't really really think anything of it. And, you know, I've been in a couple doozies of relationships myself that were abusive. But, you know, at first you don't really realize it and you just don't really think too much about it. And you're just sort of like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, nah, I'm not really all that comfortable with this, but okay, like, we'll let it slide. And then, you know, you start thinking to yourself, maybe I am crazy. One of my ex-husbands, I remember, really tried to distance me from family. Matthew talks about this in his video too, how this person's distanced him from his family, from his friends. You know, they were all losers, whatever the deal was, and really got him to thinking in this mindset that, you know, maybe she was right and that they were, you know. And that's what kind of happens. It doesn't, you know, people always sit there and say, why didn't you just leave? It's like, you don't, it's not, you know, immediate. So that's the problem, is that when you first meet the person, it's knight in shining armor kind of thing, or a woman in shining armor kind of thing, and you're made to feel a certain way, and oh God, you're their world, and you're the best, and you're amazing, and all this other stuff. And then little by little, just, it's almost like a cold coming on. You get the feeling that something's not quite right, but you're not really sure. And so you just kind of go with the flow. And before you know it, you're like, oh my God, like, what has happened to me? What has happened to my relationship? What is going on? And you really are manipulated into thinking that it's you, You're the crazy one, and you're the one with all the issues, all that other kind of stuff. So I just really felt that this was a subject that needed to be talked about more, because it does happen. It happens way more than we know. And I think, you know, in our society, men are supposed to be tough and they're supposed to be strong and all this other stuff and not have emotions. And you know, how does this happen to a man? Abuse has no boundaries. Like, abuse is abuse. It's not, there's no gender thing related to it. It happens to men, it happens to women. And I think especially with men, it needs to be talked a lot more about. I think our society needs to change. I think we need to understand that just because a man is abused or he stayed in an abusive relationship does not make him any less than a man. This is all psychological stuff that goes on with abuse. You know, people are like, oh, you know, oh yeah, you're just a pussy, or you're this or you're that. When men are like, oh, you know, cry over certain things, or then bring out the fact that they were abused, and it's like, you know, why didn't you just hit her, or why didn't you just, you know, hit her back, or why didn't you just I mean, some things are just not acceptable. I mean, that doesn't make you any better if you turn around and you hit the person back. Like, come on, really? Matt touched a lot about this on his video, and so I'm basically gonna just leave it there and just let you guys watch the video. But post down below, please, what you guys think, because I just, number one, this hit home for me. Number two, it was so heart-wrenching when I watched it. And being in abusive relationships before myself, what he was saying was so spot on. And I was like, it doesn't matter that there was a man behind the camera saying this stuff. It was the fact that what he was saying was so like, oh my God, yeah, that happened. Oh, it happened exactly that way to me too. Abuse has a cycle, and it's normally the same cycle. Nobody who's been abused is normally different than anybody else. There's these little nuances that always go with the abusive cycle. So that's just what I wanted to say. Watch the video, check it out, and post down below what you guys think about men being abused. This video just really, really broke my heart. So take a look at it, post down below what you guys think, and let's just open up a discussion. I'll talk to you guys later.
Hi. This is not a video I'd ever thought I would make, and sorry. My name is Matthew Santoro, and I make educational content on YouTube. I make videos to make people laugh and to educate people. I've decided to make a video discussing something that I never thought I would discuss publicly. It's embarrassing. Sorry. It's embarrassing. It's not something people ever talk about. But I feel like I need to, because it's something that I kept hidden for a long time. I'm sorry. I didn't expect this at all. To be honest, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional at all. I thought that I'm tough now. I've dealt with this. I thought it's something that I've buried deep and I would never talk about again. But I feel compelled to, because I was in an abusive relationship. Sorry, I gotta collect myself. I was in a relationship with an individual who, when I first got with them, everything was better than you could ever imagine. I was made to feel powerful. I was made to feel sexy. I was made to feel like I'm a king, and that person was all that I ever needed. And this individual that I was with forced me to push everybody out of my life. I pushed my family away. I pushed my closest friends away. And it wasn't always explicit. It wasn't always like, push that person away, delete them off social media. Although that was the case, mostly with females. This individual that I was with was extremely jealous. Viciously jealous. If I had a female friend, I must have been cheating on her with them. I've been cheating on them the whole time. I had to cut every female out of my life, out of social media, delete every number out of my phone, and it was because everything was made to be about her. And I lost my friends. I lost my closest friends because I was made to believe that everybody else was a loser. Everybody else in my life that didn't agree with this relationship, they're losers. That's why they're saying these things, and you need to cut them out of your life. So I did. Early in the relationship, I had a verbal altercation with this individual where after I had a panic attack one night because I couldn't handle walking on eggshells around this person. So I left an event that I was at and I broke it off with this individual. This person prevented me from leaving their home and said, "You're not going anywhere." At which point I was hit in the face. I was hit in the face for the first time in my life. And when someone you care about strikes you, there's so many emotions that go through you. It's almost indescribable. You feel sadness, you feel shame, you feel embarrassment. You think, was it my fault? There's an indescribable amount of emotions that go through your body when something like that happens. And luckily, I was able to leave that night. This individual, through manipulation, weeks, or I don't remember, about a month down the road, contacted me and told me that they changed. Never do it again. I will never strike you again. And I took her back. And that is incredibly embarrassing to say. And what people don't realize is, when I took her back, the real damage was psychological. Everything in my life suffered. When I took this person back, I cut everyone out of my life. Everything became about them. And my business suffered. My business suffered because I was uploading videos once every 3 weeks instead of once every week. Everything became about her. I allowed myself to be in a relationship where I was controlled, where I was manipulated, where I was made to do things and act in ways that I would never act on my own. And it wasn't up until just a few weeks ago that I decided to finally break it off with her. I said I wasn't happy. I used the excuse that I wanted to focus on business. I wanted to focus on work, and I just didn't have the time for a relationship. But that's not the truth. The truth is that I wanted my life back. I allowed somebody to emotionally and physically abuse me for almost a year of my life. It's really embarrassing to say that, but it's the truth. And the reason I'm making this video is not to disparage anyone. It's not to pull anyone down. It's to tell you that domestic violence knows no gender. It happens to men and women. And it's something that men never talk about. Because we're made to believe that we're supposed to be strong. And I never talked about it because I thought that no one would believe me. No one would give a shit. And it's sad that we live in a society where people have to feel like they're supposed to keep quiet about these things. And it's wrong. And people generally only talk about females getting beaten, but men get hit too. Men get hit too. Abuse knows no gender. It's something that people don't talk about. It's something that is embarrassing, so no one wants to talk about it. But I'm making this video to tell you that you need to talk about it. Whether you're a man or a female, if somebody hits you, tell somebody. Tell a family member, tell a friend. Don't bottle it up. Because it will do damage to you that will last for years. And this is something that I never thought I would be talking about. And here I am, I held this for 8 months. And I know there are people out there that have held it for years. That's why I'm making this video. Because there's help out there, and there's people that care about you. There's people that love you, and you don't need to be in that relationship. You don't need to be with someone that hates you and uses you and manipulates you to do everything that they want. You don't need that. There are people that will support you if you come out. If you come out and say, this person hit me or abused me emotionally or psychologically, it doesn't matter, it's all abuse. Oftentimes they accompany each other. If that has ever happened to you, there are resources out there for you. Don't make the mistake I made. Don't be quiet for 8 months. Don't be quiet about it. Tell somebody. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your best friend. They will believe you. No one will judge you. Take it from me. No one will judge you. Nobody's judged me about this. People have only been receptive and loved me and said, we're here for you. You don't need to be silent. If someone is abusing you, be vocal about it. It takes courage. It takes strength. And you might not feel like you have it, especially the longer it goes on, the more control these people have over you. But you can. I did it. Tell someone. There's people that love you. There's people that love you, and there's people that care about you, and that will speak on your behalf. And when you're ready, then you can take the proper steps. But you're strong enough to do it. Get out of that relationship. That person will destroy you. They will destroy your business. They will destroy your relationships with everyone you love. And everything will become about them until there's nothing left. Until one day, you wake up and you realize you have no one but them. That's why I'm making this video. It's not too late. No one wants to admit they've been abused. But the pattern of abuse and violence will continue indefinitely until you say something. And that's why I'm saying this. Get help. Talk to someone that loves you. There's a lot of people, even the people that you've pushed away, they will welcome you back with open arms. The people that you've pushed away, they know. This isn't you. They know that you've been manipulated and controlled by an individual who does these things. And they love you. And they always will. You might look at it as a risk. It's not a risk. Staying in the relationship is a risk for you physically and mentally. Domestic abuse and violence of any kind, emotionally and physically, is never okay. And until you speak out, these people will never stop.